with a drunken sailor? What do we do with a drunken sailor early in the morning? We're back. We're back. We're back. So, with that, let's see here. What do we have to talk about today? So, Trump has claimed that he's extending the ceasefire with Iran until after negotiations conclude, which he basically has to do, I feel like, at this point. Like, the option is either just let it expire tomorrow, and then the implication is that you immediately begin bombing again, because that's what you've been saying, or you extend the ceasefire. So it seems like there is good reason for you to not be following up on your word. It'll be interesting to see how this gets handled, but ultimately I think we know what's going to happen. This battle with Iran has been coming for a very long time. Hi, Margot. Welcome back. I don't think it has to be coming. Like, I don't think Iran represents a real threat that we actually need to be worried about, but I'll be goddamned if the rest of the country doesn't feel that way. Look up Eric McDavid. We were all in Ecos Club. It was madness. Is that an activist that got caught up because of feds, or is that a fed that got caught being a fed in an activist group? What happened to last stream? My phone was acting up. It just wasn't going anywhere, and I couldn't figure out why. My performance was no different than it is any other night. In fact, I think I was like a lot higher energy than I was earlier today. I don't know. Do I need to like resume the mad angry Phoebe mode? Is that what everybody likes? 20 years in prison? God dang. Eric, Brandon, Jensen were activists. Wait a minute. You're not talking about... No way. You're not talking about the same Ecos Club that Anna Was a Stool Pigeon was written about, are you? Well, Eric and Jensen were activists. Heads loaded with theory, their hearts are filled with passion, shared the same left-wing politics. Like the same music, they were part of protest movement, well, man, a fancy sound, feminist. Ready the way they talk and dress, dancing to self and anarchist. Eric fell in love with Anna at a meeting of a country conference, didn't know it, but Anna was the FBI informant. Eric fell in love with an FBI informant. Shared his dreams of revolution. Now he's sitting in solitary confinement. He can what you think, he can what you say, and he used that against you in court one day. Well, Anna, she's a wrong, she's just a fucking snitch. Oh, I love that song. I don't know the whole thing, but I love that song from the moment I heard about it, because I'd always heard about things like COINTELPRO and the infiltration of Marxist, anarchist, and generally leftist groups by organizations like the CIA and the FBI. But never had I heard it put so brilliantly to a song before. It's actually really interesting to meet somebody that knew some of those folks. Holy shit, I didn't know they made a song about her. Dude, Yeah, Laura Jane Grey. Santa was a stool pigeon. It's a great song. Oh, it's a great song. Black Suburbans and AR-15 rifles. Agents made the arrest in a Kmart parking lot. Found with the supplies for the bombs in hand. They were gonna build a bomb and blow up the Nimbus Dam. Well, Anna had the car, Anna paid the rent, and I helped find the recipe to make the explosives. She encouraged her friends to follow through with their plans. They didn't know it, but Anna was an FBI informant. Yeah, no, dude. PB, while I'm in your chat, I would appreciate it if you and everyone else in here would respect my pronouns of they, them. I'll try. I'm not always the best at remembering every individual chatter, so I might mess up a couple times, but I'll try. Cool story, bro. I mean, it's not my story. We've actually got someone who was part of the story in here, apparently. That's awesome. Good thing I did so many drugs, or else I would have made more meetings. Oh, shit. And people say drugs can't bring you anything positive in life. I just pooped. It identifies as pee. Well, it's clearly more intelligent than you are, so maybe you should get your poop on the chat instead of you. Pick your wet, disgusting, greasy, IBS inflamed turd up out of the toilet and smear it on your keyboard. See what that's out. I bet it might end up actually being more intelligent than what you just put in my chat. Happy belated 420. Happy fucking 420, everybody. It is belated, but you know what? It's 420 somewhere. This is what radical left mental illness looks like, fellas. Yep. And if you want a reference as to what radical right mental illness looks like, just check out the shooter at the Mexican temple earlier today. This is what crazy extremism on the left looks like. You're 100% right. You are correct about that. Notice there's no weapons. There's a few symbols that you might get offended by. But there's no weapons, there's no threats of violence, there's no crazy manifesto calling for the extirpation or extermination of specific groups. There's no pictures of Eric Harris and Dylan Klebold around here, and most especially, there are no corpses. But if you want an example of radical right-wing extremism and what that looks like, you need look no further than today's shooting at a Mexican temple. Crazy extremism, lol, these kids. I mean, they're kind of not right. Like, yeah, these kids for sure. I do agree, but like on the other hand, this is kind of what the extreme left actually looks like, you know? Most of the time when somebody on the left is talking about blowing up a building or doing some act of violence, it's a fucking Fed, and me and you both know that probably better than anyone else in this chat. 99% of lefties are fucking out of shape to varying degrees hippies that wouldn't hurt a fly if it bit them, you know? The idea that there is some danger from leftist extremism in America is just silly. When you look at leftist extremism and it's like trans girls with patch vests. I ain't removing shit, bitch. The only comments to get removed out of here are ones that don't pass my mods muster. So maybe you should consult my mods as to why things are getting deleted. YouTube chats don't work if you leave every garbage spew out of every turd's mouth fly up the chat like it's valid of being seen. If the right is silenced, why are we always hearing you? Yeah, that's the thing I've never understood. If the right is continuously so silenced, then why can you not go 5 fucking steps without some right-winger bitching about something? You can't talk about any issue in this country without 100 right-wingers coming out of the woodwork to tell you why they disagree and why they hate it and why it's never going to work, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But then they also want you to believe that they're silenced. They want you to believe it's actually it's doublespeak that's very characteristic of fascist movements. They want you to believe, on the one hand, that they are under constant assault and the most oppressed group in America, and on the other hand, that they're the culturally dominant force, the silent majority responsible for all the real work that gets done in America. Both things can, of course, not be true at the same time. One of them, or both, has to be a lie. Who the fuck said we were silenced? I don't know. One of your little victim mentality MAGA friends that's sitting in my chat right now, that's who. Some MAGA with a victim mindset. Bitching about lefties when they could be looking at their own backyard. I don't know how anyone on the right can even find time to be talking to a leftist right now when one of your own just shot up a bunch of people at a Mexican temple. Once again, for anyone who didn't hear it, this is an example of what left-wing extremism looks like. If you want an example of what right-wing extremism looks like, you need look no further than the shooting that happened at a Mexican temple today. And I'll repeat that 20 times throughout this stream because that is the truth. That is the reality of the situation. Right-wing extremism is a far greater danger, historically and presently, to society and civilization as a whole than left-wing extremism could ever hope to be. Any extremism is? Not really. I mean, extremism is largely defined by the Overton window in which you exist, and in the American Overton window, I am what's considered an extreme leftist. You might not consider me an extreme leftist, but I am what's considered an extreme leftist. When some pundit on Fox News gets up in front of all the boomers and tells them who to be afraid of, they're telling them to be afraid of me, okay? And people like me, not trans people necessarily, alternative, visibly leftist people. That is who like the average conservative American is told to be afraid of. That is like, I am a microcosm, a representation of this broader American extremist left movement that, if you actually look into it, consists of peaceniks and like environmentalists and fucking anti-war activists, like healthcare advocates, union people. It's like, what the fuck are you even talking about? Where is the danger? From whence cometh the danger? And it's really one of those situations where the call's coming inside the house, dude. It's not. You don't need to be worried about the external threats if you're a right-winger. You need to be worried about the fascist Nazi tendency in your own party that keeps getting people killed, both in individual acts of mass violence and broader acts of state violence all across the planet. But you can't do that because that would involve redressing fundamental parts of your personality and your worldview, which of course nobody can do anymore, so. How am I regurgitating CNN? Here's something you won't hear on CNN. Israel is an evil apartheid state that should be fucking dismantled with American military might. We should roll tanks on Israel. There's something you won't hear on CNN. You want to hear something else you won't hear on CNN? There is no electoral solution for the problems we're facing. The solution for the problems we're facing involves 30 million of us dividing ourselves between Washington, D.C. and Wall Street and camping out there for 3 months or as long as it takes for our needs to be met. That is the solution. Popular uprising, mass movement, on the ground work. The Democrats are offering you no hope, no solution, no salvation. They offer you more war with Iran, just like the Republicans do. They might be more amenable to worker class interests. Maybe that's a reason to vote for them. But when it comes to what will actually solve the problems facing us as Americans, there is but one solution. And it's not something you're going to hear on Fox News, CNN, or any of these other mainstream media sites. It's just not. The answer is popular uprising. The answer is a mass movement. 30 million people divided between DC and Wall Street with a list of 5 demands from which we will not stray. That is the answer. Amen. Turn those tables over. Thank you, by the way, Josiah, for coming in a pinch earlier. Can't tell you how much I appreciate that. Love the last song. You sound great. Thank you. I appreciate that. Let me give that a heart. Thank you so much. That sounds like what white extremists believe, the whole Boogaloo thing. No, I'm not talking about fucking taking over the fucking government. Are you kidding me? I'm talking about something that is completely allowed within our fucking Constitution. I'm not talking about going up there with guns. Are you fucking serious? Huh? I didn't say we go into DC and take over the halls of power. I said we go to DC and camp out until our needs are met. I'm talking about a sit-in. What I'm talking about is not the strategy of white supremacists. It's the strategy of black liberation activists and anti-war protesters in the 1960s. That's what I'm calling for. Nobody said America should steamroll Israel. Oh, I kind of did. I said we should roll tanks on Israel. But, you know, like, I mean, I don't know. We figured this out with Germany pretty quickly. It seems like at this point, America would be morally justified on turning our tanks towards the, like, seems to me like it might be a justified use of force in this particular scenario. But instead, we're in bed with them to a degree that is inextricable. Know the difference between political and religious Zionism? They lead to the same ends. So I know the distinction, and I appreciate the distinction, but I don't focus on it over hard. I'm not going to lie. Because functionally, what is the distinction when what you're talking about as far as outcomes is the same? I believe in peace. That's why I stay away from labels. I'm independent and laugh at the idiots who are arguing about gender, race, equality. Well, don't you think those things are important, though, on some level? Or, do you just, not care? If so, why? Surely we can all recognize that life is, on the whole, a lot better if we can, get along, broadly speaking. Method? The methods aren't different either. The political Zionists are willing to achieve their means through whatever, that's the thing. The political and religious Zionists work hand in hand to justify each other's means, to justify each other's ends. That's why spending too much time on recognizing the distinction between them just takes away from the central point. I do recognize the distinction, but mainly to illustrate how different interests can align towards the same end goal and can justify, through their machinations, the same types of horrible means. The Black civil rights movements had charismatic, influential leaders. Who is leading this movement? Right now, nobody. Genuinely, I'm not going to lie to you. Right now, nobody. I don't think I'm the right person to do it. I don't think I'm nearly charismatic enough to lead a mass movement like that. But I'm not going to lie. There are times when I think about it and I'm thinking, I just think man, if I just bought an RV and drove to the far Pacific Northwest and just started a journey across America, trying to gather as many people with me as I go, talking about it on social media as I do my content, structuring my content along. Could I get enough people? Maybe. I don't know. Would an influential leader emerge out of that? Almost certainly. I don't think we have someone like that we can point out right now. I think that there are really good and influential leaders in like various progressive movements across America, but none of them are currently trying to organize a mass movement. I do care, but lately everything been over the top. I value peace in the sense that I believe in human rights, but right now humans lack the heart and passion to truly commit to revolution. So you do understand the problem then. You're just kind of jaded, which I can't blame you for, I guess, honestly. Because honestly, earlier today, I was saying pretty much the same thing, that humans lack the heart and passion to truly commit to revolution. That, um, like there are so many people in this country that have been infected with the mindset of selfish individualism that are willing to just let America burn to white ash. Before they commit to any kind of change or act in their own best interest and the collective interest of their community. Israel has money, but they listen to America. Yeah, this idea that Israel owns America is just fucking silly. Israel has an undue amount of influence over America, but we could fucking start reversing that anytime we want to. We lack the motivation because we are tied to our jobs, too tired and too poor to miss work to exercise our rights. Well, that's the thing, though. The people of the 1960s, yes, they were in better economics. Like, there's a better economic situation. It was easier to find better paying jobs when the movement was over, et cetera, et cetera. But the people who engaged in that movement, like, a lot of them did so at pretty great personal expense, at least for the time that they were doing it. Yeah, like there's sacrifice involved to what I'm talking about. Yeah, definitely. And there's a reason why I haven't just up and fucking sold all my possessions and done it myself. I've got responsibilities that I can't just forgo to go join some mass movement. But I also feel like at a certain point, there will come a time when people have so little and are so destitute, and it makes so little sense in the face of the amount of wealth in this country, that regardless of whether it involves sacrifice or not, people will rise up. And I just want to be ahead of that. And I want people to be thinking about that before it happens. There's a better situation for white people in the 60s, not everyone. Yeah, that's true. Although I think you could argue that in certain ways there was like an overall, like just a broadly more accessible economy back then. But it would be interesting to see how things have changed, because definitely life was a lot harder for marginalized people of all various different types during the 60s and 70s. You have your passport, Phoebe? No. I ain't got no passport. I know you voted for Trump. You know wrong. I didn't vote for nobody in 2024. I realized I needed to sign up to vote too late by the time it was time to sign up to vote. I wasn't particularly, like, honestly, if it had been an election I was passionate about, I would have made sure that my registration was solid 3 months before the general came up. But I just didn't fucking care. And so I didn't really look into it until 15 days beforehand. And I was like, oh, I can't register anyway. Oh, well. That's what the Democrats get for not putting up a compelling candidate. Motivation never leaves you, but expecting people to be on your same wavelength is a losing game, since motivation for peace is everywhere. Too many dead kids to lose motivation, TBH. I honestly agree with that. I mean, like, You're kind of talking about being a little jaded yourself, though, so I feel like you can't lose motivation, but I feel like you might be falling victim to that a little bit yourself. Honestly, motivation is important and all that shit, but how do I put this? I feel like I'm reminded of this thing Derek Jensen says about hope a lot, which is that hope is kind of fucked up. Because hope binds us to unlivable situations and blinds us to real possibilities. That's the exact quote. And I think motivation can be kind of a similar opiate of the mind. It is good to be motivated, especially in areas of personal interest and things like that. And if you take motivation to mean its most broadest sense of inspiration to do something, then I suppose it's got a utility in the formation of a mass movement as well. But I think the type of movement that I see happening at some point in the next 4 or 5 years is not going to be one born out of active motivation and strength of will, but rather desperation. I don't think it will be a planned rejection of the way things are so much as it will be a desperate panic response to how bad things have gotten. That's why I want to talk about it now, before it happens, so that people can start thinking about what needs to change before people start taking to the streets with a million different demands. But not just black people. Nobody cares, especially not you, when you only use it as a defense. Why we shouldn't speak on atrocities against black people. I can't tell if that comment was directed at me or not. I definitely think we should talk about atrocities committed to the black community for sure. We were talking about the move bombing the other day. I hope what I said didn't come off as like trivializing how badly black people were treated in the fucking 50s and 60s. Lord, no. That's what I was trying to do. It just seems to me like there was like cheaper property just in general back then, and like that might have filtered down to like the broader public as a whole. But I mean, that's just fucking guessing on my part based on some assumptions I have about the era. Let's talk in detail about blacks. I can't, I'm not going to lie, I can't find myself having a very productive conversation about racial politics with someone who refers to like black people as the blacks. Something tells me we're not going to have a super productive conversation, but we can try, I guess. I don't even know what's going on in the chat at this point. I'm just going to sit back and smoke my pipe for a minute. I'll check back on y'all about 20 seconds. Situation individual. Situation individual. Situation individual. Credit to at Paul's Ego for that bit. I'm gonna go get me a pride flag. Do it. Do it, do it, do it. Oldie but a goodie. It's an oldie but a goldie. What's up, Lewis? It's like when they said Kurt Cobain was trans. What? I don't think Kurt Cobain was necessarily trans. I do think that he liked to experiment with gender. And there's definitely letters of his that make me think he might have been an egg. But there's no way of knowing. I didn't expect you to have that voice. I've got all kinds of voices. I don't know. I feel like my voice has got a pretty wide range. Sometimes it's all the way down here, and other times it's all the way up here. What is an egg? Oh, just, like someone who someone you theorize to be trans who hasn't come out yet, basically. I'm not saying, once again, I'm not saying that Kurt Cobain was an egg. I'm just saying there's some things that could make one wonder, but there's no way of knowing. Read Nicole's comment and follow it. It's good advice for good people. Kurt was killed. I don't know, man. I think Kurt probably killed himself. I'll tell you who didn't kill himself. Elliot Smith. So there were like two different sets of prints found on the knife. His partner, his life partner, was never fingerprint tested as far as I know. And he died from two supposedly self-inflicted knife wounds to the chest, which sounds impossible to me. Just like the physics of it just doesn't make sense. Maybe you could manage to get up the courage to do it once, but to pull it out, do it again? I don't know, man. There's way weirder shit about the Elliot Smith case than there is about the Kurt Cobain case. There's no way the suicidal man killed himself, you all scream as you're dragged to the padded room. Well, okay, but listen, when it comes to Elliot Smith, I think there's real, reason to fucking wonder, though. Isn't it fucking weird? Isn't that weird? I don't know, maybe somebody can find me an example of, oh, no, it's actually statistically significant. Thousands of people a year kill themselves with multiple stab wounds to the chest. It's actually surprisingly common. I've never heard about it in any other case in my fucking life. Ever. I've just never heard about it. The cut wrists, okay, all right. The gun mouth thing, okay. I'm not trying to be lighthearted about it either. I'm just trying to say, I literally have not ever heard about that in any other case but Smith's. And that's what makes me wonder, on top of the fact that there were 2 different sets of prints on the damn knife, if there wasn't some foul play involved. Well, yeah, no, I was talking about Elliot Smith and how he killed himself. I just don't know, man. There's shit about it that's weird. I just wonder. I mean, Elliot Smith was also suicidal. He wrote about suicidal ideation in his songs and shit. So, like, you know. But on the other hand, if you wanted to kill a motherfucker, wouldn't it be nice if they had a whole oeuvre of music talking about how much they wanted to die? I just realized what the silver clips are. I'll educate the rest of the chat. Dave Grohl's dad was on the CIA? That's fucking crazy. Do you mean that women tend to choose blood loss as their method of suicide opposed to traumatic injury methods? That women tend to choose blood loss as their method of suicide. No. I don't know if you're talking to me, but no. As far as I know, now maybe this is wrong, but as far as I know, women are actually more likely to do something that they perceive as like being less intrusive, like hanging or like jumping off a thing or something. I don't know if that's true. No, LOL. Okay. My bad. If you wouldn't mind, Taylor, and I hate to put this imposition on you, but if you're talking to somebody in the chat, if you wouldn't mind just putting like an @ their username at the beginning, it would help me out a lot just to be, just to keep track of what's going on in the chat. You don't have to, but it helps. It helps a ton when people do. If Kurt did commit suicide, then he most likely just hit a secondary or not even important artery organ. That might explain why there's 2 stab wounds. No. You guys are getting oh my god, you guys are getting shit confused. Kurt Cobain killed himself with a shotgun wound to the fucking back of the throat. Elliot Smith supposedly killed himself with 2 stab wounds to the chest. These are 2 different cases we're talking about here. Bugs! King Bugs! The dopest man on the internet. How you doing, motherfucker? See, I don't like this shit that just indicts Courtney Love because it reads as like misogyny to me. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong on that, but every time I hear somebody trying to like invoke Courtney Love as the murderer of Kurt Cobain, it's just like, man, it just rings of woman hating to me. When it comes to Elliot Smith, I don't say that his partner necessarily did it. I have no fucking idea. There's plenty of people that, let's just be honest, Elliot Smith was an addict and probably not the most responsible with money, like most addicts tend to be. Ask me how I know, it's easy for me to imagine that he might have like accrued some debts or something. I don't fucking know. I don't make any claims as to who I think did it because I'm not a goddamn detective. All I want is for the police department in that town. I forget exactly where he was killed. I want to say LA, but I may be wrong about that. It might also be Seattle. I feel like it's one of those 2 big West Coast cities, but I can't remember which one. I just want them to reopen the case. I just want them to re-examine it, run those additional set of prints through the database, see if there's anybody pops, Thank you for the gifted memberships, King Bugs. I appreciate that a ton. For those of you who just got gifted memberships, you now have access to a wide variety of less viewed, but also more esoteric and deeper streams that have been made members only because they're less than 5,000 views. Here shortly, that's going to include a lot of recent streams. So, yeah, that's one advantage you get. You also get to notice in the chat more often. So, thank you, King Bugs, for those gifted memberships. I appreciate it. Good night, Josiah. Thank you again. She's a difficult person for sure. It doesn't make her a murderer. Yeah, I mean, like, Courtney Love can be a bitch without being a murderer. You know? I don't think it's misogyny to say Courtney Love might be a bit of a bitch. Maybe she is. But, like, that a murderer does not one make. That doesn't make her responding for M. Hooch. Huh? I do sense a misogynistic undertone that motivationally primes the Courtney homicide theory, and irrespective of the actualities there. And 100%, that's exactly what I'm getting at. Yeah, there's a misogynistic undertone that colors how people feel about it, that automatically kind of directs their minds towards these homicide-based theories, where Courtney Love is somehow at the nexus of it. Either she's the one who actually shot him, or she paid somebody to shoot him, or some shit. Or she collaborated with somebody else. It's fucking... There's a million theories, and a lot of them point to Courtney Love for, in my estimation, no reason other than misogyny. Let me see here. Love may not have pulled the trigger, but would you consider someone an accessory to murder if she degraded him and talked him into suicide? Obviously, this is just me talking. I have no idea on their relationship. If that was their relationship, then maybe, possibly. But even then, I don't want to ennoble that by saying, oh, sure, 100%. Because I feel like that's just more fuel on the let's hate Courtney Love fire. I don't want this stream to get clipped in 2 years if I manage to get big. And then somebody's like, you know, look at this streamer and this long conversation they had about Courtney Love. And you know, here she is talking about how Courtney Love could have fucking degraded Kurt into killing himself. It's like, no, I don't fucking know. I guess maybe that's possible, but I don't think that that's what happened. I don't see the evidence for it, you know? He degraded her too. They pretty much hate fucked each other, Matt. I didn't know that. So if that's true, then damn, I didn't know. I didn't know. Holy shit. That's a crazy relationship. Damn. There is a certain spice to a relationship like that. That's all I'm gonna say. Yeah, fucking King Bugs with the more gifted memberships. You can literally find clips of him calling her ugly or fat. Okay. That's fucking fucked up. That's crazy. Oh my god, that's crazy. So I'm right then. Dude, this shit probably goes all the way back to the days when people, like, when we were still fucking alive. Just like the general misogyny of our culture coloring how people perceived the exchange. And then he dies, and then everybody blames Courtney. And the facts of the matter become muddled and cease to matter as more and more people hop on the bandwagon, to the point where a lot of people hop on it not even knowing really any of the facts of the matter, or the case, or anything, or even really the misogynistic undertone that it originally started with. Not that crazy. She would say the same things to him. I mean, I don't know. Like, just use us as an example. Like, I don't know if we ever said shit like that to each other. I mean, we were plenty good at wounding each other with our words, but I don't I can't ever remember calling you fat, and I can't ever remember you calling me fat. Or ugly for that matter. They were so ill, there was nothing between hate and obsession, only two extremes. Oof. Okay. I'm starting to see a clearer picture here. Okay. Yeah, so, I mean, that is just a degree of spice to which I am completely fucking unfamiliar. That's crazy. I didn't even know. I'm gonna have to read up more about their relationship, I guess. She may not have killed him, but she may have accepted money to simply not talk. Who knows? Who the fuck, like, honestly, we can sit here and debate all day, but I feel like we're never really gonna fundamentally know. The evidence is not conclusive of a homicide, or it would have been ruled one. Yeah, no, I get that. That's why I've always said that Kurt Cobain probably killed himself. Maybe there's some remote chance that it was some kind of foul play or something, but somebody sticking a shotgun in their wound and pulling in their mouth and, you know, fucking pulling the trigger with their toe is not. It's not out of the fucking picture. You know, it's not out of the blue. It's not insane to imagine. Um, Suicide by firearm, pretty common. That location, pretty common. That particular setup isn't the most common, but, you know, Kurt was not a big gun guy. He didn't have a ton of, like, little handguns and shit around him. He had a shotgun for home defense. Have money. Thank you, King Bugs, for the money. I will take that and stick it right in that there pocket. Thank you so much. King Bugs, the VIP, indeed. I'm so happy every day that I broke up with my ex and I'm single. I remember us talking about that a little bit. It really can be liberating. I mean, it has been for me. Now that I've broken up with my ex and I've kind of learned how to be, you know, in the life that I've got now and everything, I'm kind of digging it, you know? It's like I really don't have a lot of obligations on my time. I can kind of structure my day how I want to, build my own habits up, and eventually I can find somebody who fits within those. He had he had an over-under shotgun, but that's about it. Exactly. Our liege, indeed. The king is here. God bless the Second Amendment, right? I guess. I mean, I'm a Second Amendment gal, but I do think that gun nuts are pretty insane. Love yourself before you love another? That's bullshit. That is literally just bullshit. You do not have to learn to love yourself before you can love another person. I don't even know where that idea could come from. I did enjoy it for a short period of time. I would have liked to enjoy it more, but when you meet the love of your life, you don't pass it up. Yeah, no, for sure, for sure, for sure. Oh my God, what is with all the Jesus comments all of a sudden? What in the unemployment line is this? I wouldn't know. I'm employed. Well, I'm technically not employed in the traditional sense. I'm self-employed. Monetized YouTuber. As you can see with the little donations going across the bottom. You know. And God said, "Lo, thou shalt shutteth the fuck up." King Bugs with another fucking $10. Why you PO'd, Bugs? Oh, shit. Why are you pissed off, Bugs? What's got you pissed off? Or hear me out, Phoebe. You can just have crazy sex with random people forever. But what if I eventually find somebody that I have really crazy sex with, but then they like, we vibe, and we gel, and it's like, you know, we could just keep doing this. What about Genesis? What about Genesis? You'll have to learn new types of self-love throughout your entire life. As you and your body continues to change, if you wait for everything to be right, you'll pass up great relationships. That is true. That is very true. And that is perhaps a more nuanced response to that statement about loving yourself. I do think in developing self-love skills and like a sense of self-love is important, but you shouldn't make the mistake of thinking you can't be with another person or have another close confidant in your life merely because you haven't mastered the art of loving yourself. I'm scum? I'm just a random fat trans lady on the internet. I'm pissed at how much a new roof costs. Oh God, King. I can't even imagine what it's gotten up to now. Ugh. What, 30,000? 40,000? King Bugs? Fucking again? How are you gonna afford that roof if you're fucking donating all your damn money to me? No, I'm kidding. Fuck that roof. Tarps. Tarps. Big rocks. Yeah. You just gotta find the solid spots on your roof and use those. You even lay out boards on top of the tarps so you know exactly where to go in the future. 20,000 and it's not my roof? Oh, well, still. Damn, that is fucking expensive as shit. Not as expensive as I was thinking, honestly, just based on inflation and everything else. But that's bad, yeah. Matt knows roofs. Matt's a roofer. We finally know Matt's job. Yeah, I do all my own work too. I was just telling you about the tried and true patented BDOFI roof repair manual. Very simple manual. Step 1. Set a ladder up against the side of the house that doesn't have a gutter. Step 2. Scurry up that bitch with a tarp in tow and a couple of heavy weights if it's a windy day. Step 3. Set that tarp on the leakiest motherfucking part of your roof. Weigh it down at the 4 corners. Step 4. Climb down the ladder. Step 5. Put the ladder up. End of manual. And if you think it don't work, just visit a little town in Louisiana called St. Charles. You can find some expert demonstrations of this construction technique still being used today. Random question. Any of you random bastards want to buy a house in the South? I'm trying to sell mine. No. No. The land I live on is not mortgaged or anything like that, so wouldn't give this spot up for the world. Maybe to another family member, but you know. Not just to move somewhere else in the South. That's the central point. Man, this thing's going to take a dog's age to fill up. I'm beginning to regret this already. I wish I just bought some blunt wraps like a fucking intelligent person with a thinking mind. Fruit salad, yummy, yummy. Fruit salad, yummy, yummy. Yeah, but who can afford bacon anymore? Oh. You ever hear Wizardhead's fruit salad remix? No. I've almost got it full, though. About halfway. The real experiment will be to see if I get high off of a joint with a filter, like a cigarette filter. Best time for brisket is August or December. Those are two radically different months. Can I ask what the logic is there? Bacon was $9 the other day at the store. Oh, yeah, it's fucking insane. Meat's gone up such a tremendous amount, like every goddamn thing else. I mean, I get it. Inflation constantly happens, but it seems like the rate of inflation over the last 3 or 4 years has just been insane compared to previous eras in my life. It is extremely expensive to live in the Pacific Northwest, where gas is $6 a gallon and food is ridiculous. Oh, yeah. Definitely. That is what I hear. Ow. My feet hurt a lot. Ow. It's based on the slaughter and aging schedule. Ooh. I'm just so fucking tired of everything today. Dude, King Bugs, you might want to rewatch my stream from earlier, because that's exactly how I was feeling too. I was fucking so pissed off because it seemed like nothing was going my way, and on top of that, the world was also like in turmoil and feeding bullshit, you know? Yeah, what happened, King Bugs? You do seem over it. I'm good now. I'm okay now, honestly. Like YouTube just took fucking forever to pay me for some reason, and it kind of like fucked up some of my day plans, and I wasn't able to get some stuff done that I needed to get done. And it is what it is, you know? But I was like legitimately worried that I was like not going to be able to regulate my mood whatsoever for 2 whole days, 3 whole days basically. And I luckily had a few people in the audience show out for me, so crisis was averted. And then I ended up getting paid just later on in the day, you know, when it was pretty much too late to do most of my running anyway. But you know, life goes on. At least I secured the medicine, if you know what I mean. That green medicine. That spirit medicine. Making me miss the days when I used to smoke. I promise I'll be done in a second. Would you support a biological father-son marriage if they were of age and consented? No. What a fucking weird question. What a fucking weird question. Holy shit, King Bugs with the fucking 50 bucks. Can I please some music tonight, Phoebe? Of course you can, King Bugs. Of course you can. I've got no heart out tonight, so long as we want to stick around as long as we have. What in the fuck? Who the fuck is the manatee? Yeah, as it turns out, those cheating Democrats are back at it again. And it seems like it seems like they won the redistricting battle in Virginia. Well, Eve, what do you think about that?
Hi, Gretch. I'm really glad you chose to talk with me about this topic today.
Gretch? What the fuck? My name's Brett Kane, not Gretch. What the hell?
Oh, I'm so sorry. You're right, Brat Queen. What am I thinking?
Brett Queen. No, Brett Kane.
Oh, of course. Brett Keane. I remember you. All of our saucy conversations.
Oh, well, let's not talk about that right now. Situation. Let's get into. Let's get on to some other topic. Let's talk about this redistricting battle in Georgia.
Holy shit, King Bugs, thank you for the $20. I appreciate that. Look at that. King Bugs just fucking showing out tonight, dude. Hell yeah. Recently, Paul on stream said he no longer is the Keenologist. He has retired. Will you take up the mantle? I think I kind of already have been, honestly. I don't want to say it. I mean, I kind of do now that Paul has said he's retired as a Keenologist, but he's kind of been saying he's a retired Keenologist for a long time. But if the internet needs a new personality with a fresh face to make fun of the manatee, you can bet your bitch ass I'll be right there. Honestly, the 5 people that trigger Brett Keane the most are TJ, Paul, Ben, Scotty, and me. Just based on the interactions that I've seen. I have only seen him be as vitriolic as he was to me to those 4 dudes. That's it. Like, to their faces and about them and shit. And like Brett Keane refuses to mention me in video titles and things like that, or to include, like, he doesn't make content directly about me, but Brett Keane didn't start making anti-trans content until I started fucking with him. Nobody gives me fucking credit, but it's true, goddammit. Look back at the timeline. You probably can't find it anymore, but if you look back at when Brett Keane, in this most recent iteration of his, the like post-2020 era, Brett Keane didn't talk shit about trans people. I mean, maybe he would incidentally, but it was not a major feature of his channel until after I started fucking with him. What did I do to Brett? I love all of you. Hurt by YouTube. No, so what did I do to Brett? I trolled him on live. I had him on for a long, hour-long conversation where, I interjected as much as I wanted and maintained the generally friendly demeanor until the last moment when I finally started to decide to start dropping some of the big hits, and then he booted me out. You can find the recording of that appearance, by the way, here on this channel. It's one of the videos on the video tab. King Bugs does rock. What kind of father sits around and allows his children to be molested, sodomized, and raped? What kind of father would allow his children to starve to death? What kind of father lets his children freeze to death in the cold? What kind of father would judge you and condemn you? Leave you and your children burning in the flames of hell. The same God who claims he loves you. Dude, Brett Keane was trying so fucking hard to be Lane Staley. You celebrate 420? A cig and a pipe, gold member style. Hell yeah. Thank you for the $10, Manatee. And thank you for being a member. King Bug, another $10. You guys have been showing out on the donations tonight. Holy crap. Keep it up. Let it rain. Let it rain, bitches. Woo! Okay, so we don't have as many people as we did at the top of this, and I guess I should have announced it then, but the religious ode has been rescheduled. I had a family emergency today. On top of the whole pay issue, I also had a family emergency that pushed back all of my day plans to the point where the religious ode was no longer feasible. And I unfortunately was not able to update you guys at the time that it was supposed to happen. And for that, I apologize. But I am rescheduling it for tomorrow, 6 p.m. CST to 12 a.m. CST. And inshallah, it will proceed without issue. Oh, thank you for the gift. Look at that. Thank you so much. Thank you, Nicole. Laughing disco. I try to feel the pain. All this pain. Yeah, this shows himself. He's invisible. But the preacher says, keep the faith. It's all about the money. It's all about the money. Sorry, God, I seen the news. I watched TV. Babies dead in dumpsters. Mothers on crack. Men beating women. I can't even remember what the next line is. The pastor passed the bowl for money. I'll try to play father. No guarantees. I wish I knew the first chord. Thank you for the gifted memberships, King Bugs. How's that cigarette treating you, Phoebe? No, I'm not going to be able to play Father. I'm not sure what chord pattern that is, and it's too low quality for me to fucking sound it out in my head. It's the beginning, dude. It's the beginning of Father. Also, tabs will not exist for Father. They might, actually. Somebody should look it up. Somebody should look up Father by Brett Keane tab. Because I guarantee you some dork has added it to fucking Ultimate Guitar by now. No, none of it sounds right. Nothing I fucking picked feels right. Thank you, King Bugs, for the additional gifted memberships, the kingly gifteds. Fuck, man. Nope. Hey, Mary. Mary Eli. Everyone, please like the stream and show love to Phoebe. Yes, thank you, King Bugs, for your many contributions and for that. King Bugs is splashing out. I was wrong, it does exist. Well, can you tell me what chord it starts with? Like, can you tell me the rundown of the chord structure? It's better to be safe than sorry. Make us cry, Phoebe? Okay. In a small town where all knew all, wondered a peasant lady nobody knew. That her only friend was a young boy who'd bring her dirty pennies and leftover stew. Okay, I'm going to look up the lyrics to that song. It's a really sad song, and I want to play it for you guys. I never play it on here because it makes me cry, but... Well, shit. I'm trying to make this work, y'all. I really am. I promise. Fuck. Oh, okay. Alrighty. Okay, so we encountered a technical glitch, but give me a second. Okay. Can you guys still hear me okay? Is it back? You hear me? Do you see me? Okay. All right. Alrighty. In a small town where all knew all, wondered a peasant lady nobody knew. But her only friend was a young boy, brought her hot tea and leftover stew. In those permanent wintry Decembers, he'd pick dirty pennies up off the cold street. And while his mother was out Christmas shopping, he'd say, "Come on and warm your feet." As long as you share with me stories. So she spoke, I'm a product of war. My mother never knew who she could be, as my father lay drunk on the floor. She spoke of the cart that she wheeled, had keys with no locks and guitars with no strings, and a puzzle that could never be finished. But this is my home, and these broken things. Boy went on to be taught in the schools, to not talk to strangers and not feel the fools. Got older and further and never forgot, till she was forced to move from lot to lot to lot.
I guess it was much in his nature to become an enforcer of law. My old friend's got a gun to protect me from the rock-tossing drunks from the bars. Always seemed like the sword to help others, so I'll find him while he's on the beat and say, remember me, I'm the old lady you give the pennies you found on the street. She found him, she found not the young boy who dug for the roots of her junk. She came face to face with a stern, vacant soldier, grinning and spinning the club. He said, don't you know you can't be here? You'll hurt business and scare away the kids. Go wander around in some other town. Get out or I'm taking you in. Officer, kindly remember you. Young boy would give me your leftover stew and take me to the warm, warm fire coals. Those hundreds of pennies bought me all these clothes. It's against the law to peddle. It's against the law to eat. It's against the law to have nothing more than the shoes full of holes on your feet. And now they put bars across the park benches, so I guess it's illegal to sleep. They buried something inside of you, officer. Into your cold heart, dig deep, and you'll see that it's me. And here I'll be, nothing new to me. I'll be heartbroken, cold, frozen and alone. My coffin be a dumpster, nobody even know. One night on the beat, he looked down at his feet and he saw a dirty penny heads up at his feet, and it made him think of a little tall tale that he heard of a woman with a cart. And the young boy would feed her and help her. He knew he should have somewhere deep in his heart. Oh, where is that young boy? But oh, what a story to tell. So he told to his own growing boy once in a while for bed.
Dude. I can't believe I was muted that whole time. Kind of glad, though, because I was sitting over here weeping. So, that works out. Are you Satanist? No. But yeah, I don't know if that did it for you guys, but it certainly did for me. Why do you have the symbol back there? I just think it's a cool symbol. Thank you, King Bugs, for the $10. I appreciate that. That's the devil symbol. Only if you believe in a devil. And I don't. So, it's not the devil symbol for me. I was raised in Catholic school, taught to obey that one golden rule, that is He who sits in the heavens above deserves all your praise, devotion, and your love, because He had a Son who had died for our sins, and with that sacrifice came a sense of contrition that we all seem to feel when we're down on our knees, looking up to God, hoping He'll answer all our needs. But I tend to believe that it's all for naught. When the sun descends, all our souls will rot, along with our flesh and our bones and our blood will seep into the earth, reconnecting with the mud. And I think to myself, what a wasted life, to waste being devout to what could all turn out to be a lie. To be a lie. Well, I do not know, but I have been told, if you don't believe in Him, well then the devil owns your soul. But let us just examine what's really below this land. It's not the story of a man with a pitchfork in his hand. Could you honestly believe in such a tall, tall tale? Something that sounds so make-believe, just like the sailor and the whale. Well, I guess that this song has sealed my own fate. Lucifer won't take me in passing through no pearly gates. But if either one exists, well, that's fine by me. I will gladly spend the afterlife waiting in purgatory. Purgatory. Make Believe, City in Color, from the album Little Hell. Sometimes I think the point of living is just to spite those that deny the validity of my life. Unironically, King Bugs, that is something that I first heard espoused by Dirty Kids, and it's now part of my own philosophy. It's as good a reason to live as any. Beautiful, sad song, but I hope you find God, brother. I was raised in Christianity. I'm not your brother, and I would appreciate it if you wouldn't evangelize to me as a person who has left the faith willingly of my own volition. The Poor Bird Lady song? I'll have to check it out. I don't know if I've ever watched Mary Poppins, actually. I'm sure I have when I was a kid or something, but supposedly the Antichrist is going to be loved by all. That's another reason why I don't think Trump is actually the Antichrist. Loved by all? He ain't really loved by that many people. Did you ever look into my Bob Dylan song? If not, it's okay. I did not. What was the song again? It Ain't Me, Babe. Oh, fuck. That one got recommended to me the other day, and I don't know if I listened to it or not. But now that you've reminded me, that'll stick in my head even more because I saw it being recommended to me the other day. I've been listening to a ton of Bob Dylan lately, so I really want to learn. It's All Right, Ma, I'm Only Bleeding. But that's just such. I can tell it's going to be an intense song. I can't even tell what the opening chord is. Doom 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 doom. Something like that. Fuck, I'm gonna learn that song. I'm gonna learn that song. I think you'll notice when things become different. The something we something won't something the something. Yes, I remember. I'll never forget the story so far. Clairvoyant. Yeah. Good times. Why'd you break up? It came to us in a dream. Stupid woke person. I'm so glad you've properly identified me as a political enemy of yours so that you can know to stay well the fuck away from me. Thank you, King Bugs, for the $10. I appreciate that. Which time? Yeah, exactly. Well, what they don't know, you know. Oh, shit. Life is funny. Breakups can be healthy, y'all. Yeah, they can be. They sure can be. They sure can be. My favorite time was when I thought I might be gay personally. Which, admittedly, did learn me this song. When I'm stable long enough, I start to look around for love. See a sweet for a friend. My money arrangements. There we go. That's the chord I was missing. Yeah. When I'm stable long enough, I start to look around for love. See a sweet for a friend. My money arrangements. Why can't she be a straight? I know she's a lesbian. I thought I found the one. We were good as married in my mind. Married in my mind, so good. Keep trying, go honestly. Let me know the truth. Let me know the truth. Yeah, Taylor broke up with me to that song. Now, to be fair, we were like 14. 13, 14 years. Yeah, something like that. Been a long time. Most of our lives, honestly. Y'all are too cute. And that's just because, like, it's not even, like, there's no, I don't think there's any, like, relationship chemistry there left over. I think it's just, like, the fact that, like, between the two of us, me and Taylor might know each other better than any other friends we have. So we're able to bounce off of each other in a way that's really fun and funny, you know? We've got a lot of good memories together and shit, so. Plus, Taylor is like one of the most personable fucking people I've ever known. So, I mean, they could carry a conversation with a bucket, you know? I have an honest question real quick. I will ask your honest question. Question. I like that. Question. Eat the rich. There's only one thing they're good for. We tried 3 times. I think that's enough. Yeah. Yeah, what like the rule doesn't say 4th time's the charm, 5th time's the charm, endless times the charm, you know? Oh shit. And you gave it your best? Hell yeah. Yeah. You know, there were bad times, but there were a lot of good fucking times too. And I would say, in my estimation, the good times outweighed the bad. Overwhelmingly. Dude, I've told Taylor this before, but Taylor is a lot of the reason why I am as social as I am today. You know, like why I'm as comfortable in social environments as I am now. Which is good. Because I don't know that I'd be able to do this if it weren't for some fundamentals like that. Certainly wouldn't have had as much fun at the DFF meetup if that was like the first time I'd ever been to like a concert or a crowd of people. Just throwing love out to everyone out here. Thank you, King Bugs. You are such a loving motherfucker, and I appreciate you so much. Thank you a ton. Why is it always male to female fighting to get into women's sports and never women to men trying to get into men's sports? There are plenty of female to male trans people that are fighting for their right to be represented in their respective like sports categories. The problem is most leagues are already accepting of trans people broadly unless they've been like targeted for some of this like discrimination shit and like been forced through public fucking response to exclude trans people. For the most part, they allow trans people to be in whatever league matches their gender identity, provided that you've been going through hormone treatments for long enough and you you know, fall within the the accepted limits and shit. My freedom. You guys are not giving me any freedom of speech. You apparently have the freedom of speech to say that. I'm traditionally conservative, but lately I've been trying to be more empathetic to understanding of ways of living I find unfamiliar. Well, that's a good attitude to have, regardless of what political affiliation you end up with on the other side of it. It is, I think, generally a good thing to be curious about the way people live outside of your realm of exposure. You can't know what good solutions are if you've not seen enough variety of them being tested out, you know? Talked about and discussed. I just want everybody to be happy. Do you identify as trans? I do. Yeah, I'm conservative. I do not like woke people. Well, what do you define as woke people? Let me guess, you're pro-abortion? Pro-abortion makes it sound like I want every pregnancy to end in an abortion. I'm pro-choice, as in I think that people who are pregnant should have the right to be able to determine whether or not their body is used as a vessel to foster human life. I think that's a critical part of human rights, personally. I'm pro-reality. Well, here's the reality. I have an ex with whom I had a kid But before we had a kid together, we were pregnant with a different pregnancy before. And we went in for the first ultrasound as they were just starting to put some size on. And what we saw was nothing. The condition is called blighted ovum. And it happens when a pregnancy begins, but then fails to really take off. And the placenta and the stuff like that is reabsorbed, but the amniotic sac is not. It continues to grow and expand. The profile, the hormone profile, doesn't change significantly enough to tell the person's body that they're no longer pregnant, and therefore to initiate a cycle. And people can end up going multiple months, sometimes up to the full term of a pregnancy, with nothing in there, in places where there is absolutely no access for an abortion. And they're just waiting for the day when their body finally wakes up and decides, okay, now you can pass this. Is it going to be in their sleep? Is it going to be when they're at work one day? Who knows? In a civilized world, that person would have access to a medical abortion that would allow them to pass that blighted amniotic sac, its associated fluid, and reset the uterus for another go-round. Luckily for us, Mississippi is not so backwards that we were not able to access that procedure. Luckily for us, that's one of the types of abortion that is still allowed under our law. Phoebe, I remember spending nights in the hospital over what you describe. It's horrible. It's horrific. And I wouldn't wish it on another soul. And the idea that any person should have to struggle through months and months of that because their state refuses to recognize the right of human beings to determine what their body is and is not used for is sickening. I'm guessing you live in LA? I live in Mississippi. I'm just one more piece of the pie out here proving that not every motherfucker from the deep south is a fucking blighted redneck with backwards ideas who blames the Jews for everything. Some of us out here can read a book. Life starts at conception? No, it does not. Life starts when a person takes their first breath. That's when life actually begins. Nobody remembers anything from before they were born. Ever. Never, never, never. What is a sperm spell? Huh? What the fuck does this have to do with the conversation? It's a male gamete with fucking half the chromosomes of the adult of that species. I asked you I answered your question, and now I'm asking you a question. What the fuck does that have to do with the fucking conversation? Are you going to argue that every sperm cell... Are you seriously going to sit here and argue that every sperm cell is a life that needs to be protected? A sperm cell is a baby? Under this motherfucker's logic, it seems like it might be. It's a possible life? So do you think that every person who masturbates should be, like, locked up in prison as a murderer? What about, like, periods? What about the fact that regardless of what you do or what happens, if you have a functional vagina and uterus and ovaries, you are going to, like, expel the, like, lining of your uterus once a month along with an egg that failed to be fertilized. So is that, like, is every woman and AFAB person on the planet committing monthly ritual murder? Huh? Every sperm is sacred. Yeah, I know. If every sperm cell is a human life, then so many people are cannibals. I know, dude. I've eaten so many people and I didn't know it. I've eaten more people. According to this motherfucker's logic, I alone have eaten more people than Stalin ever killed in fucking Soviet Russia. What the fuck am I hearing? It's the whole original sin thing. We're all monsters. I mean, yeah, that's the thing. I don't like it when people that are like totally indoctrinated by Christianity want to talk to me about abortion, because ultimately there's no point in arguing with it because we have fundamental differences that make our positions irreconcilable. You will have to admit that you're wrong because I am on the side of human rights and fucking people's safety and logic and common sense. And you're on the side of Bronze Age backwards bullshit. More music, please. I'm sorry, King Bugs. You're right. We did get deeply departed from the music, didn't we? Yeah, I had to have a good cry and then I had to berate my chat for a while. But thank you for the $10. I appreciate it a ton. We have somehow managed to get to $241 tonight. I appreciate you guys a ton for that. Just know there's tons of bullies on YouTube. Oh yeah, I've been monetized for about a year. They're never ending, but I also don't sweat them too hard. Phoebe, you made me cry. Aw. Well, you did ask. What about that song makes you so connected with it? Having been homeless myself, and in particular, there's this older woman cop, so I guess the roles are kind of reversed, you know, instead of an old peasant lady, young peasant lady, instead of a young cop, you know, but there's still a characterization there. There's this cop I knew in high school. She'd been on the beat for like 20 years when I got into high school and moved into that town and everything. And, you know, she was still there when I graduated and still there when I started busking regularly for a living. And for the longest time, she was always one of the friendliest cops on the beat. You know, she'd like roll down her window and wave to me, talk for a minute if there was nobody behind her. You know, sometimes she'd bring me a cool water or something. And then one day, I came back into town after a long absence. And as it turned out, they'd passed an ordinance against basically the very thing that I kind of became like a little local celebrity in that town for. So they basically passed a law against me specifically, and it ended up being that cop that told me. And she seemed pretty nonplussed by it and not happy to be doing it, but it broke my heart because if ever I thought there was an instance where you might get a little leeway, but no such thing. Yeah. Well, that's why. Nah, don't worry about it. Especially not if you're negative in your checking account. Anyway, we've got demands for more music, so. Well, we're kids building novels of a world that we might want to live in. We're sorting feelings in our stomachs. Is liberation or starvation? But have we made it anywhere at all if the dishes are never done? We can't live without dishwashers. How would we live without cops? And so you're asking me, who does the dishes after the revolution? Well, I do my own dishes now. I do my own dishes then. You know it's always the ones who don't that ask that stupid question. Well, I don't. Fuck, man. Well, I could sing it in a falsetto, but I don't want to. I don't want to. I want to be able to sing it in a full voice. So I got to figure out how to play it where I can do that. Well, I don't believe in God, but I'm also not an atheist. God, but I'm also not an atheist. Because the universe is chaos. Chaos plays favorites. Alright, that's way better. Alright, I'm going to restart the song. Well, we're kids building models of a world we might want to live in. We're sorting feelings in our stomachs. Is liberation or starvation? But have we made it anywhere at all if the dishes are never done? If we can't live without dishwashers, how would we live without cops? So you're asking me, who does the dishes after the revolution? Well, I'll do my own dishes now, I'll do my own dishes then. You know it's always the ones you know that ask that fucking question. Well, I don't believe in God, but I'm also not an atheist. Because the universe is chaos, but chaos plays favorites. And you know lately I've been thinking about how I love Jesus. Because Jesus, he was a dirty homeless hippie peace activist. He said drop out and find God to anybody who would listen. Turning water into space bags. Turning water into space bags. Turning water into space bags with low lives and anarchists. I think I redeemed myself for the bad false start. Thank you, King Bugs, for the $10 I appreciate that a ton. You know I do. I'm dying. Sperm bite, dude. The sperm bite shit is fucking crazy. Sperm bite, bro. Into live stream? Tag products. Oh, okay. And they really want you to do that. Keep chasing that money. I'm planning on it. Kind of what you have to do in a capitalist society if you want to survive. Trying to think. There was some song that I thought about sending to Taylor, and then for some reason thought better of it. Now I'm trying to remember what that damn song was. Ah, fuck. It's on the tip of my tongue. Chase my money? Alright, King Bugs. I'll try. Damn it, I'm trying to think of that song so hard. Let me think here. Fuck. I remember the title, but I can't remember how it sounds. Damn it. 1 second. Man, that took forever. I hate that I even have money. Honestly, I can't relate, but I don't have that much money either. So for me, it's like, yes, lifeline. Yeah, I will help anyone solve that problem. For sure, for sure. Anyway, I did figure out what the song was, and I did remember why I was hesitant to send it to you. Because I don't know, it's a little nihilistic, but it's also like positive nihilistic. And there's like a part of my soul in that song, not because I've got anything to do with it, but just I don't know how to put it. Like I read the song's lyrics or I hear the song and I'm just like, there's a part of me that can't help but connect to it. So I don't know. The manatee with a $20 thanking donation. Thank you so much. How about which side are you on? I can give you a little bit. After I play the chorus of this song. And Taylor can tell me if she wants to hear the rest of it. Okay, so here's the chorus, right? Here's to the rubble, brick through every window, casket buried 6 feet deep for everybody's heroes. Here's to our lives being meaningless, and how beautiful it is, 'cause freedom doesn't have a purpose. Cause tonight I'm thinking about the crack house. Cause tonight I'm thinking about the crack house that got torn down in the center of town. And tonight I'm thinking da 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 da. Here's to the rubble, a brick through every window, a casket buried 6 feet deep for everybody's heroes. Here's to our lives being meaningless, and how beautiful it is, 'cause freedom doesn't have a purpose. Yeah. What is the song called? Harmony Parking Lot Song. The singer can't sing, which means you're either going to really like them or really hate them. It's hard to tell. They can't sing as well as the front bottoms. Let me put it that way. In what way? Well, like, if you've never heard Johnny Hobo on the Freight Trains, I really don't know what to compare it to. Just like, okay, imagine in your head a sentient a possum, right? A sentient possum that has mastered the art of playing banjo and guitar. Imagine the songs such a creature would sing, and imagine the voice such a creature would have, and you'll have a close approximation to the artist that I'm sending you to. Yeah, something like that, Inky Belly. Something like that. Thank you, King Bugs, for the $10. I appreciate it. No, not hoboism, not Hobo Johnsonism, okay? Hobo Johnson did not invent hobos, all right? Dude, that's fucking crazy. I never thought about it before, but Johnny Hobo and the Freight Trains does sound like a cover band of Hobo Johnson, doesn't it? It's not, though. Johnny Hobo and the Freight Trains is a way older property. Way older. I mean, I guess I could do my best fucking Patrick Schneeweiss impression. No, I don't have a good Patrick Schneeweiss impression. I just don't. There is a yelly quality to his voice that I just can't embody properly. growing old in rooms full of kids with unruly haircuts, taking what comforts we can. And the fact that every empire's days are numbered, man. But I don't think that we can count that high. Should have paid better attention in school or something. Cause I feel like there's something that I don't know, and if I could just grab it right into my soul, I could stand to live somehow. But I don't know. And the fact is I'm 2.7 decades in to a growing ambivalence. I can count on one hand how many fucks I'm giving, or is it a million? It's God and void equivalent. We being poor, are we making total destroy, or just making a living? And I know that Rome wasn't burned in a day, but it couldn't have been more than a week. And I know that the children of barbarians, they become the next tax collectors and priests. So I don't know. I suppose the world's been turning since the world was round, and time makes dust of all we can't burn down. And I suppose it's true, dead bodies make soil in the ground. What about we do now? I'm growing old in rooms full of kids with unruly haircuts, taking what comforts we can. In the fact that every empire's days are numbered, man. But I don't think that we can count that high. No, I don't know. Scratchy, whiny guitar man is my favorite gender. Then you gotta check out Johnny Hobo and the Freight Trains. You'll love it. I play a ton of their music here. That song I played a few minutes ago, that one about doing the dishes and God, you know, and Jesus being a hippie and all that. It's called Jesus Does the Dishes. It's by the same guy under a different band name, Wingnut Dishwashers Union. Also a fantastic song. Thank you, King Bugs, for another $10. Look at that. You guys have gotten me up to an insane amount of donos tonight. Holy shit. I appreciate you guys a ton. Are you on Steam Gaming at all, Phoebe? I am, but I don't know what my name is on there. Sons and daughters, we'll build our home on the water. We'll build walls, aluminum. We'll fill our elves, send it around. Ready, your arms, turn to shoulder. Yeah, no, I remember that song, but I don't remember all the lyrics. I haven't listened to it in a while. But once I did the little... I took a massive piss in your backyard. Nice. No, that is, I mean, it's one of the cool things about having a backyard with some privacy, Trying to think of any more songs. Might be able to pull out of the old hat. Out of the old surprise hat. Look at that guitar. Thank you, Nicole. How about some Moldy Peaches and I'll sing the other part even though you can't hear me? Sure. Why not? You're a part-time lover and a full-time friend. The monkey on your back is the latest trend. Don't see what anyone can see in anyone else. But kiss you on the brain in the shadow of the train. Kiss you all starry-eyed, your body swing from side to side. Don't see what anyone can see in anyone else. Here is the church and here is the steeple. Sure are cute for two other people. Don't see what anyone can see anyone else. Pebbles forgive me, trees forgive me, so why can't you forgive me? Don't see what anyone can see in anyone else. I will find my new shiny car with wavy TV, rumble guitar. Don't see what anyone can see in anyone else. But Don Quixote was a steel driving man. My name's Adam, I'm your biggest fan. Don't see what anyone can see in anyone else. But up upon the left, the FIDA start. Just because we use cheats doesn't mean we're not smart. Don't see what anyone can see in anyone else. But you. You both have shiny happy fits of rage. Want more fans, you want more stage. Don't see what anyone can see in anyone else. But you. It's as much as I remember, unfortunately. Can I bring up my complex feelings about Elliot Page? Of course. Tentatively, yes, Nugs. Like, what are these complicated feelings? Like Phoebe is a valid trans woman, but Elliot Page is not a valid trans man. Is that the take? I hope not. Did you back Sanders in 2016, 2020? Yes. Although I did eventually end up voting for Biden in 2020 when Bernie dropped out. Yeah, no, I sang that part. Nice. My ex had that same book. Thank you, King Bugs, for an additional fucking $10. I appreciate that a ton. So what are your complex feelings about Elliot Page? No, I won't back down. No, I won't back down. You can stand me up, stand me up. The gates are down, but I won't back down. Gonna stand my ground. You turned around, and I'll keep this one from breaking me down. Gonna stand my ground. No easy way out. Gonna stand my ground. I know what's right. I got just one life in a world that keeps on pushing me around. Gonna stand my ground. Back down. No easy way out. Hey, I will stand my ground. And I won't back down. Hell yeah, I knew somebody would get it. I think I'm somewhere like that. I respect the position, but I know the position isn't representative of many people. What position? I'm so confused. Yeah, I'm very confused. Oh, I do think I might have to give up the ghost on the guitar for a while, though. Because my finger's starting to hurt. I was Patrick. I fell into the chili and this happened. Oh, okay. 10-4, 10-4. Your cat is in evil mode? Oh no. Is it a SpongeBob reference? Dirty Dan, the position that I was so attracted for years, but then they publicly came out as something different, yet I was still attracted. Oh. I mean, I think that's fine. It doesn't, like, here's the thing. I think a person can be completely straight and still have like one or two people of the same sex that they would do something with for one reason or another, you know? You can be perfectly straight and have like a gay crush. I think that's fine. But it does make things more complicated, I think, when a person is like super out as a celebrity before they come out as trans. Like, I'm sure a lot of people do end up having complex feelings about that after the fact. Most people aren't. They just haven't met the person they'd be gay with. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, like, but I don't know. Like, I feel like straight and gay are both kind of terms we use to describe, like, honestly, like, if we're being honest, like, it's a variety of attractions. And I think that if you take straight to mean overwhelming preference for someone of the opposite sex and gender identity, then I would assume that like I think that could still leave room for a gay crush or two while also describing people pretty accurately. But if we take straight to mean you're exclusively only and only ever attracted to people of the opposite sex or gender identity, then yeah, then I don't think there's any straight people. That's why they hate him so much, because they were hot for him before. Yeah, literally, that's why so many people hate him, and that's why I'm glad King Bugs is like like he's like introspective and shit, and is able to recognize like, yeah, I've got complicated feelings about this, and things are like here's how things change or whatever. But like honestly, there's lots of people that aren't that honest with themselves, that aren't able to be that introspective, and so they end up hating the dude for no reason other than like their own complex feelings that they can't work through. There's nothing wrong with having complex feelings, but you shouldn't let that build hatred. It's not good. It's not pro-social behavior. Dude, I hung out with somebody tonight, and it's somebody I've been friends with for like 5 years now. We don't hang out all that often anymore, but maybe that's going to change here soon. And man, we've got such good chemistry. I wish it could be something more. Not so much that I'm going to like push it or pursue it, but dude, it'd be cool. But like, it's just fucking like, honestly, it's pretty cool just being friends with them. I miss having friends that I could smoke with, and that's what I did earlier tonight. After I finally got done with everything I had to do, it was already like 10 o'clock at night, so I just went and smoked with a friend for like like you said, this friend I haven't hung out with in ages, and me and her had a lot of fun, just sitting around talking, catching each other up. Smoking weed. Oh. That also sucks, losing the sesh pals. Well, it happens with time. I mean, most of the time, your like prime sesh years happen usually for a specific time frame, and then you never really achieve that again. You might be in smoke circles after that. You might have like parties you go to or smoke circles that pop up or whatever, but the idea of having like 4 or 5 people that you regularly smoke with and sesh with, that eventually fades away, and you end up just session with 1 or 2 of them at a time if you're lucky. I think my prime sesh days are past. Yeah, I will tell you one thing. One thing I really think would be or will be interesting when if I'm ever able to move back to Missouri, or since that's seeming more and more unlikely, if I'm ever able to regularly get up to Missouri, I would love to check out some of the weed lounges and see if you can foster that kind of like communal atmosphere. I just got a notification from X. I don't know if it's true or not, but it made me giggle nervously and hilariously. Oh, what was it? The prime sesh would be Paul, Scotty, and Phoebe. If TJ starts again, then him too, but I think he stopped, so the best is yet to come. I think TJ might have actually like taken a puff or 2 of weed here recently on one of the Patreon episodes or something, so TJ might not be excluded from that. I'm telling you, Patrick, if you haven't been to a meetup, you got to be at a meetup, because we can make that circle happen probably. Might not be able to get Scotty, Paul, and TJ all at the same time. That's going to be impossible. You can have Paul and Scotty at the same time. You can have Paul and TJ at the same time. You can have TJ and Scotty at the same time. But you cannot have all 3 of them at the same time, or it's just a clusterfuck. It probably isn't. Aw. What? Was it like Iran has just completely wiped Israel off the map, and they've completely fucking attained military success? That'd be cool. I didn't have the resources before, but one of the future ones, as a matter of fact. Hell yeah. I keep waiting for the boys to announce this Nolans or fucking meetup that Paul teased a few episodes back on the National Divorce stream. Like, he teased the Nolans meetup, made it seem like that was a thing that might be happening, but we're getting awfully late into the year. I'm beginning to think there ain't gonna be no DFF meetups happening this year. But I am not in their creative process. I'm not behind their business or anything. I'm just saying, I hope it happens. I want it to happen. I will be there if it does. Good. I need to save money this year. Fair enough, Riley. Fair enough. Fair enough. Very fair. Nah, saying Trump had to be talked down from entering nuclear codes or something. I've been hearing that same headline. I don't know if it's fucking true or not, and I'm too scared to look into it. I'm not scared, I guess. I'm just like, man, I don't want that to be true. I don't want it to be true. I spent $150 spending smoking out a bunch of strangers. Well, yeah, but you had the time of your life, so it was worth it. By the way, thank you for that, Riley. That was awesome. King Bugs with another $10 fucking dollars. Look at that. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Look at that. Nice. Yeah, the head commander got in a shouting match with them Saturday. What? What? I hope so too. I mean, we need more than just No King's Day, though. But hey, people got to start somewhere. Yeah, No King's Month would be nice. No King's fucking 3 months would be nice. Can we get No Kings, 30 million people in Washington, D.C. and Wall Street? Oh, man. He believes Russia tested nuclear warheads, but they were actual nuclear subs. Such a dunce prez. Holy fuck. So you're saying we're basically on the brink of nuclear disaster, and the main thing protecting us from that is a belligerent general who is as likely to be replaced as he is to be kept. Awesome. Well, I think I know what we all need to do, actually. I think I have just the right advice. Start doing stretches every day. And, when you get the news, hopefully it'll be enough time between now and then that you will have stretched enough to make it very easy for you to put your head between your legs and kiss your ass goodbye. It's the end of the world as we know it. It's the end of the world as we know it. It's the end of the world as we know it. And I feel fine. Breaking news. Local Georgia man is currently in a fiddle standoff with the devil, sources confirm. Taylor, you know I don't know that song, right? Although I do know the song mentioned in it, ironically. All right. Left my family and my Carolina homes. Had dreams about the West and started to roam. 6 long months on a dust-covered trail. Some say heaven's at the end, but so far it's been hell. And fire on the mountain and lightning in the air. Rolling in the hills and it's sweet for me.
me there.
Damn it, I wish I could remember the second verse. Empty cartridges on the street. Or just to hear the sound of that horrible gun. On the mountain, nothing in the air. Golden little hills and sweet for me. Now my widow, she weeps o'er my grave. Wait, now my widow, she weeps o'er my grave. Oh, yeah, okay. Now my widow, she weeps o'er my grave. Torn in two by a man she couldn't save. How does it end? Fuck, man. I hate not being able to remember lyrics. I have a way worse memory for it than I used to. Oh, yeah, okay. Now my widow, she weeps o'er my grave, torn in two by the one she couldn't save. Shot dead in cold blood by a gun that carried pain, all for the useless and no good, worthless claim. And there's fire on the mountain, lightning in the air, gold in them hills, and it's waiting for me there. I always thought that last verse hits particularly hard. Shot down in cold blood by a gun that carried fame, all for the useless and no good, worthless claiming. Because, I don't know, man, few other examples in music managed to capture just the sheer debauchery and depravity that was the Untamed West. I mean, if you want to look at an example of a time where life was actually probably cheaper than it is now, look no further than the American West, the Old West. And just think about that lyric. Shot down a cold blood by a gun that carried fame, all for the useless and no good, worthless claiming. Fire on the mountain, lightning in the air, gold in them hills, and it's waiting for me there. People would get killed over literal nothing. Phoebe music made me cry tonight, and I love it. Guilty as charged. Real talk, how prepped are you for nuke strikes? As prepped as anybody that lives in a trailer can be, I guess. My family has a garden, you know. We all help take care of it. We're all familiar with its operations and everything, and that's something. We've got some livestock. There's that. We've got decent amounts of food stores. We do need to re-up on water, though. Got candles. We do actually have a solar panel that could be set up and used in the event of a power outage. It's not enough to power the whole house, but we could rig it up to power a cell phone or something. Did you check your fallout wind path? I mean, yeah, like the truth is, like, yeah, if a big strike happens in central US or something, I'm probably fucked. I mean, there's a number of situations in which it might happen, but, you know, I don't know that you can really help that. Stack up iodine? Did YouTube ever pay up? Thankfully, yes, but not until it was already too late for me to do most of my chores. At the very least, I was able to get some weed, so I am mood regulated and therefore not a bitch. Thank goodness almighty, they did eventually get it figured out. Unprepped entirely because without my SSRIs, I'll die from withdrawals or suicide either way. Valid point. Yeah, Riley, that's a risky spot to be in with Trump having to be wrestled away from the nuclear codes. Whoa! Yeah! What is it good for? Absolutely nothing. Oh boy, you feel it? It ain't nothing but a heartbreaker. Sent only to the Undertaker. I have no business being in any kind of survival situation when my brain is in the ops for real. Fair enough. I can say though, if the post-apocalyptic world ever happens, and I do happen upon you, I mean, it's going to be like happening upon a merciless kitten, or not a merciless kitten. It's going to be like happening upon like a helpless kitten. I'm going to be like obligated by my own moral framework to like take you in and scour the pharmacies of America looking for your prescription. You know what? If that ever happens, Taylor, just link up and me and you and our like my big survival party that I will have mustered, no doubt, by that time, cobbled together from my audience probably. We will storm a small town with a compounding pharmacy. Okay? We'll do it. Yeah, we'll be the sick. We'll call ourselves the afflicted or something. Might actually be a good strategy. We've got a representative that just like dresses haggard on purpose and uses like prosthetics and makeup to make themselves look even more gruesome. And they sit like on the hood of the slowly moving van as it traverses across the wilderness, the grown-up old highway. And if anybody like stops to talk to them, it's like, we are the afflicted. We seek a safe home where we can seek shelter and treatment. But inside, it's all just like people that are very conventionally just like, basically sick. Like, I've got mental health issues and therefore require medication to be safe. Or like, I'm an asthmatic and I need an inhaler. And like, one of them's diabetic, so they need insulin. It's just like a bus full of people with like average American type health problems, kind of, maybe a few of them are like exceptionally bad, but nobody's like the gruesome zombie sitting out front. But because there's a gruesome zombie sitting out front, they're like, shit, get the fuck away from us. Weird. I'm not interested in weighing down the group. Okay, so real talk, Taylor. Like if something like that did happen? What? Like, well, I mean, I don't know. Maybe this is just a dumb question to ask. You can tell me if it is. I'll take it. But like, surely you would not simply, like, well, I guess I shall live out the rest of my prescription and, increasingly worse conditions, and then off I go, right? I mean, you seem like you got a lot more fight in you than that. Admittedly, it would be an impossible task. I'm not saying it would be, I'm not saying like one option is better than the other necessarily. I guess I'm just wondering how you would react in a situation like that. I mean, I know my ass is just gonna like hunker down and fucking try to survive off what we got here as long as we can. For all my bluster about a crazy roving commune of sick people, doesn't exactly sound like ideal if we were actually to hit that situation. Unless things just collapsed completely. No, I mean, I'd send my BF to raid the pharmacy. Ha! Gotcha. Okay, cool. You do have some fight in you. Gotcha. I don't know how I didn't see that one coming. I could have read that one. Oh, how long has it been? 3 hours? Well, ah. Body armor is also cheaper than you think. Don't need a permit to buy armored clothing. Oh yes, I know. Very true, very true. I don't think I've ever heard you engaging in the prepper thing though before. This is new. This is new to me. Not that it's wrong. I'm not necessarily saying it's wrong or right. I'm just saying, I've never heard you talk about this specific topic before, so it's kind of like, what? I don't know why people think you do, but for some reason it comes up a lot. I think because people are used to having to buy permits for most things that are self-defense related, like as far as firearms and shit like that. So I can kind of get the logic, like, well, you got to buy a gun, so you probably got to have a permit to buy armor too. It's just people assuming paperwork where there's not any. It's a good assumption, if you think about it in another context. Like, usually it does make quite a bit of good sense to assume. I don't remember what I was saying. I'm in a whole ass conservative commune. We're prepped. Damn. All right then. Well, good luck. I hope that works out. And I mean that. Like fuck. Those types of communities do tend to work better if everybody is in more or less ideological alignment. So, and I do like the idea of people being more reliant on themselves as a community and less reliant on, like, the overarching system of capital. Yeah, but I'm gonna give you all the send off Hootie Mac. I would like to live long enough to get a little use out of this blade I insisted on owning. Yeah. Well, there's your incentive to join the raiding party, you know? Or maybe they'll just have to fend off a raider, you know? They come up to your place, you open the door thinking it's like your boyfriend that just needs let in, and huh. You know, it just occurred to me that that's the first fucking car that's gone by in hours. It's weird. No train tonight? There's been a couple trains, but they haven't been as bad as they usually are, I'll admit. Yeah. Oh, it's nice to finally have a nice, you know, fucking quiet evening. You know what's something I don't do nearly as much, though, that I used to do that I need to do more? I used to pretty much every day, at least once a day, sit, usually at night, sit outside and smoke a bowl and just take in the night air and everything. Thank you, King Bucks, for the $10. I appreciate that a ton. Hell yeah, hell yeah. Thank you so much. Damn, we've been fucking good tonight. I think the reason why I stopped that here is number one, you know, nobody else smokes in my house, so I don't smoke even on the porch. I go all the way out here to do it. And two, I don't really have like a good place other than that. Well, there's actually a few good places, but none of them are relatively close to this spot. Holy shit. Thank you, Manatee. Patrick, whatever your name is. I don't know what you want to be referred to as. $9.99. Thank you so much. Rest assured. I will try and rest assured. I will do my best. Super. Probably people going to work near you. Yeah, no. I figured, but normally I'll hear a few people going back and forth through the night too. Especially between like 12 and 4, I'll hear like 2 or 3, maybe 4 cars at least. But I feel like tonight I didn't. Maybe I just wasn't paying attention or something though. Or maybe that truck was just moving particularly fast. Hard to tell. But yeah. I think another reason why it's why the whole like sitting out and smoking a bowl outside at night doesn't appeal as much here is because I don't live in a neighborhood. I live out in the country. So there's not really much to look at, you know, like there is, but there isn't. Train came, ran Polly for work and thought of you. Nice. That's cool. I love that. I love that trains make people think of me. I've always thought it would be cool to work at a place that works with trains, you know, even if it's just like unloading bulk materials off of them. It's cool to me to know that these freight trains I hear going by here constantly do something. Because I know they got to be doing something with the amount of goods they be transporting. But on the other hand, I'll be goddamned if I've ever driven by a factory that looked to me like it had an active loading and unloading area for trains. There's exactly one that I know of where I've driven by it and I've seen different cars at it. So I know for a fact that it has to be an actively used rail line and everything, and they actively get bulk materials to those trains and shit. But I assume it's got to be out there. There's got to be businesses doing it. I'm assuming it's probably in the big cities and shit, but I don't know. East Palestine, Phoebe? I'm only 30 minutes from EP. Holy shit. That's not far away at all. Damn. We need a lot of shipments of plastics to make our power cable. Yeah, no, that makes sense. And I'm sure trains are some of the best ways to get it. No doubt. It's just, it's always interesting to me when I hear about another type of business that's using that, or just another business in general using like freight rail, because it's like clearly the best way to transport freight, but I also don't see it. Like, I'll give you an example, right? Every business you go to practically is going to have a loading dock for the trucks. And you can see the trucks coming and going sometimes. But, like, where do all the train cars come from? Where do they get loaded? Where do they get unloaded? And I know some of these things because I've looked into it, and other things, it's really kind of like I know it logically, but on a mental level, it doesn't make sense, Fan of Radiohead or Thorn Tom? What? Tom York? I used to be a big fan, but not so much now. I don't like the band Silence on Palestine. Yeah, I like Radiohead. Not a super fan of theirs, but yeah, I dig some Radiohead. I'm not sure about the other person. My grandpa saved my family from Appalachia by working the trains. That tracks. He's a singer? Oh, okay. I think we're one of the only customers from the train left in New Hampshire for these tracks. Damn. Crazy. It really is like a cost benefit analysis with like industrial rail and freight shipping, and I think that's why trucks are so predominant in America, despite the fact that we do have a pretty widespread freight rail network, is because you can't always tell where a town is going to pop up. You can't always like guarantee that railroads will be willing or able to work with any given company, and trucks offer a flexibility that trains simply can't, because as long as you're connecting to the road, you can get your trucks in and out of the factory. Whereas if you want to be able to load product onto trains or unload materials out of trains, you've got to have like a whole bunch of specialized equipment, I would imagine. I would have to imagine like there's specific ways that shit is handled and taken from one container to another. And you've got to have a connection to the industrial spur or whatever main line is nearby. All of this, I imagine, adds expense and kind of a weariness. Because it's kind of like, if you think about it, once you build an industrial park in a certain area and you route the railroad over there, it would have to take a whole lot to justify ever moving the factories out of that area. I'm a big pusher of trains. It's the autism, my lord. Yeah, no, me too. I love trains. I just wish that our society was smarter about them, because there are tons of factories that could be using them that don't, and I think there's lots of reasons why that is, but I would have to look into it more to know for sure. Like, honestly, the answer that I'm inclined to believe is one that part of me just doesn't like, because it sounds too boilerplate corporatist capitalist, but like on some level, what I said about the flexibility is like not only true but profitably true. Anyway, I'm really fucking tired. We need tracks from Boston to Manchester / Concord, not just Portsmouth. Yeah, no, I 100% agree there. Yeah, trainify the whole state. Anyway, peace. I will see you guys later. Thank you guys for donating so much. Thank you guys for spending so much time with me. I'll give you one last toke before I go. And peace.